Hey, hey, hey. Guess what? Bangology is back. That's right. Back to back Wednesdays. No, I think it was last Thursday. We were with you doing our Cooking with Cannabis segment with Chef Dr. Alexis. And this week we have our very own Dr. Dana Moore, who is faculty for this acupuncture school. I'm gonna have her tell you all about it. She is an amazing acupuncturist, but more than even that, or in addition to that, she is our very own faculty educator when it comes to cannabis. She has completed a certification in cannabis, and we are so glad that she is connected with Bangology and the Renewing Extract Wellness. So I just jumped right on in. For those of you who may be watching and you're like, who is this woman with this fabulous hair? I am Dr. Tanya Lowe, CEO, founder of Bangology and the Renewing Extract Wellness. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going to have a great time tonight. So if you have not had a chance to visit our website, please do so. And grab this coupon code, because after we talk about cannabinoids tonight, you get an opportunity to go and visit our website and grab something yummy, because there's something yummy for you. And we'll be talking about, Dr. Dana and I are going to be talking about some of the things that we've got upcoming in the Bangology world. If you are watching on YouTube and you haven't subscribed to our channel, go ahead and click that subscribe button right now, so that whenever we have events and you're not able to make them, you'll get the notification to watch them on the replay right here on YouTube. If you are watching on our public page on Facebook, make sure that you are that you like that page. And we would love to have you in our private community on Facebook, the Bangology Cannabis Society. So just let us know that you want to be a part of that. Actually, we'll put a link in the chat so you can join us in the Bangology Cannabis Society. So I think those are all of the announcements. So without further ado, I'm going to bring our instructor for the evening up. Hey, Dr. Dana.
Hi, Dr. Tanya. Hey, everyone. Glad to be here with you guys this evening.
Dr. Dana, what's the name of the university where you're faculty?
Pacific College of Health and Science.
And what do you do there?
I teach a class on auricular acupuncture there, and I also supervise student interns in our wellness center. So yeah, that's what I do.
Do you talk to them about cannabis?
No.
Okay. Because you talk to us about cannabis. And
but
so
I will talk to you guys about cannabis.
Right. So tonight, what are we talking about tonight?
We're talking about cannabinoids tonight.
All right. So as we talk about, hey, Love on Health, welcome to the episode.
Oh, Love on Health. Okay, she's a Pacific student.
Hey, Love on Health, welcome. Hey, Girl Talk Live. Girl Talk Live says, why not? Why you not talking to them about cannabis? I know who that is too.
I'm not sure it's in the curriculum for us to be having those types of conversations just yet. So if it at some point is added to the curriculum, then I'll be able to talk more freely with them about cannabis and CBD and all of the other cannabinoids. But yeah, I don't want to jeopardize what I got going on over there.
How about that?
Talking to them about cannabis when it's not yet. I'm going to say yet, because fingers crossed, yet in the curriculum.
How about that? So we get to use her amazing talents right here in Bangology. So with that being said, Dr. Dana, I'm going to go ahead and pull up the slides.
Okay.
So we can get started with our presentation for tonight. So guys, make sure that if you have questions, put them in the chat. We'll get to you. right, Dr. Dana, it's all on.
Is it all me now? I thought it was us.
I'll be here, right? I'll be right here with you. I'm right here with you. Dr. Dana likes to act like she's shy. Dr. Dana is not shy. Love on Health. I know she's not shy in the classroom, right? So here's our look. It is us. It is us. But you're the teacher, and she did such a fabulous job, guys. If you haven't watched the episode where she taught us about the endocannabinoid system, please go back and watch that. It was a wealth of knowledge. I remember Dr. Milton said, where was she when I was taking science? We needed her to teach us science. So make sure that you go and you check out that episode. So I'm gonna let you jump right in, and I'll just jump in where I fit in. So.
All right, fine. So again, welcome. Hey everyone. Thanks for having me. We're going to talk about the cannabinoids tonight. And this chart right here was a little I called it a little ditty. It's something that I created when I was taking my certification course to help me keep the cannabinoids clear in my mind while I was learning all of the different ones. It was a lot of information all at once. So there's about 6 of them, but I want you guys to know that there's about approximately 113 different cannabinoids that have been isolated from cannabis, all with a variety of effects. We currently have access and knowledge to about 6 of them, and those will be the 6. I think there's 6 that we're talking about this evening. The more popular ones, the not so popular ones, the ones that are becoming more popular. Mm-hmm. So we're going to be talking about maybe 6-ish.
6-ish. Dr. Dana, one of the reasons we definitely wanted to have this segment is because people only know. I think it's going to help with reducing the stigma around cannabis, and so that people don't just think of cannabis as as just smoking pot on the corner, or just the CBD gummy, but that cannabis, like you said, when you think about that leaf, and I need to get a model leaf so when I do the demonstration, so when you think about the entire leaf, there are 113 cannabinoids in that leaf. Can you imagine? And so we're just going to be talking about the ones that have been studied the most tonight, knowing that maybe within the next I don't know, couple of years, that we may be talking about 6 or 7 more, and how they help us, with our health on the wellness side.
The wellness, yeah.
All right.
So the 6-ish, and there might be 1 or 2 that's not on this the little ditty that I made. We're going to be talking about THC, CBD, CBG, CBN, CBC, THV, CB. It's a lot of them.
It's a lot of them.
It's a lot of them. But before we get into it, I just want to bring to your attention, like if you see on this chart, you see THC, but there's also a THCA, you see CBG, but also a CBGA, a CBD, but also a CBDA. So the cannabinoids that have the suffix A, those are acidic cannabinoids. And acidic cannabinoids, they're more non-intoxicating cannabinoids that come straight from the plant. And these acidic cannabinoids are actually precursors to other cannabinoids. So the THCA is a precursor to THC, right? The CBDA is a precursor to CBD. They're precursors because the molecules in those actual cannabinoids are larger than the actual THC and the CBD molecules, which means that, and if we go back to the endocannabinoid talk, they don't work on the CB1 and CB2 receptors like THC and CBD does.
So, Dr. Dana, give us a refresher on what CB1 and CB2 receptors are, because there's some folks that are just jumping in with us tonight. So, kind of refresh us. You don't have to go all the way back, but just refresh us a little bit on. Girl Talk Live says you better break it down. Damien Johnson says hello. So yeah, if you would go back and just give us a brief understanding, because what we know about these cannabinoids is certain ones work in certain places. So if you will.
So they work on the neurotransmitter synapse, right? So the neurotransmitter works and sends signals through the synapse to the brain by way of the receptor to give your brain the signal of what it should be doing. And I think I made an analogy about the hot pan, and the way I explained it, it was like way longer. It took longer for me to explain it than it did for me to remove my hand from the hot pan. And that's how fast the synapses works. And so the CB1 and CB2 receptors work on the neurotransmitter synapse, and what it does is it receives the CBD, the THC cannabinoids, and to signal the brain for the effects. So the effects of THC is to release anxiety. The effect of CBD is more relaxing, calming. So it's sending those kind of signals to the brain. So the brain's like, all right, this is what I'm supposed to be doing right now.
And I love how you explain that, because people always ask me, how does CBD work in the body? And we're not going to get into all that tonight, but go back and watch the video. But it taps into those receptors that tell our brain. It's almost like when you take CBD specifically, it knows where to go in the body.
Exactly. Yes. So that's the function of those receptors. And I'm opening the door here, and I really don't want to, but I only talked about
open it.
Only talked about the CB1 and the CB2 receptors, because those two receptors primarily receive the messages from THC and CBD. But what we're learning is, like with some of these other cannabinoids, there's many other receptors that receive those messages to kind of help those cannabinoids work in sending signals. So there's like a 5H1TA receptor and a GRP55 receptor. There's like tons and tons of receptors, but I only really specifically spoke about CB1 and CB2. But that's not to say, Dr. Tanya, I'm not saying that I want to do a session on receptors. I'm just saying that just like there's 113 cannabinoids, there's many other receptors as well.
We'll see what Ms. Wanda Moore has to say about that. So,
right.
So, all right. Well, great. So I think that's great. I think that really kind of sets the tone for where we're going this evening. Yeah. So are you ready?
I am.
Ready with our first one?
Yeah. So the first one we're going to be talking about is CBG, or cannabidiol. Already, I get tongue-tied trying to say these words, right?
Cannabidiol.
Cannabidiol. And the reason why I'm starting with CBG tonight is because I know THC and CBD are the cannabinoids that everyone really knows about. But what's interesting, and why I'm starting with CBG, is because CBG is actually the biological precursor to THC and to CBD.
It's right? It's the mother of all cannabinoids.
It's the OG. It's the OG cannabinoid.
Oh, the OC.
Right. It's the OC. I like that. It's the OC. And so CBG, there's actually limited research with CBG, and one of the reasons for that is because CBG is not typically found in high concentrations in the plant. So there's not enough to do good research studies, and the studies that they have been doing have all been on animals, mice and things like that. But the data that is available regarding CBG suggests that it treats inflammation. So there was a study published in 2013 that stated that CBG has anti-inflammatory properties and that it could be used experimentally for patients suffering with IBD, intestinal bowel disease. Right? But that was interesting. There was another study that shows that CBG can be used as an antidepressant, right? And so it's again with the neurotransmitters, the neurotransmitters and the other receptors. When the GABA receptor in the brain, that when the GABA uptake is inhibited, you have muscle relaxation, you have anti-anxiety, you have all of that stuff. And so that has an antidepressant property, the CBG, when used for depression or anxiety or things like that. It can be used as an analgesic, and also it, as you said, that decreases anxiety. So that GABA inhibitor will do both. Also, in just other things that it can help with glaucoma. Study shows that it increased fluid drainage in the eye and decreased eye pressure when using CBD for glaucoma. Some neurological disorders CBG can help with, specifically Huntington's disease, because it has a neuroprotection property in it. So Huntington's, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, all of those neurological disorders CBG can be helpful for. Can be helpful in treating of cancer, specifically colon cancer was studied in mice. So CBG can be used for quite a lot of things. Some patients who have used CBG reports that it helped them with anxiety, migraines, mild pain, and hot flashes. So if there's any of women over a certain age going through the change, might want to look into some CBG. I'm just saying.
So Dr. Dana, as you're talking about CBG, and CBG is actually one of my favorite cannabinoids.
Mm-hmm.
And, when we first launched Bangology, our CBG was like the first to fly off the shelves. And it's been really hard for us to get more of it. And when our manufacturer, they actually combined a CBD and a CBG. They actually have a CBD formula. And I love it because for someone who, I've talked about my sciatica and, workout. If you work out, you're going to have some muscle soreness. If you don't, I don't know what kind of body you have, but, I love that it keeps it keeps you from having inflammation, or it manages the inflammation. And I've heard also from people who've used our product that it helps them sleep really well. So if I take the CBD CBG combo at night, I'm going to sleep really well.
Yes.
If I take it before I go and work out, or before I go and play golf, I'm not going to be as stiff or as tight as to if I didn't.
Right. I have that combination oil, the CBD plus the CBG, and I started taking it. I had not been working out for a while, and then when I restarted working out, I started to take the CBD and CBG combo, which really, really helped with, like, as you said, the muscle inflammation. But also, in addition to that, I used to have problems sleeping as well. And so when I started taking the combo, my sleep improved also.
Yeah. That's one of the things that we hear. Can you talk a little bit about I was getting ready to ask you to talk about something, and I forgot. So what's the CBG for memory, right? So we're gonna keep it moving. It'll come back to me.
So one last thing about CBG is that it's very safe. So CBG doesn't have any impairing side effects. There's no psychoactivity with CBG. There's no toxic dose. So, there's no such thing as too much CBG. There's no withdrawal effects. So if you stop taking it, you don't have to worry about those mood swings that some people have when they stop taking other things. And there's no risk of addiction to CBG. So CBG is quite safe.
CBG, guys, CBG.
CBG is the OC.
It's the OC of the cannabinoids. Now wait a minute. Here's am I going in the right direction? I'm moving so fast. Okay, so here we go. That good old THC.
All right, the THC is the one we all know about, right? We all know a little something about THC. Tetrahydrocannabinol, also known as THC, also known as Delta 9 tetrahydrocannabinol. And that's the substance that's primarily responsible for the psychoactive effects of cannabis. It's the cannabinoid that's most abundant when you burn it or when it's cooked. So, that's why when you burn it, you get the euphoric effect, or altered behavior, altered consciousness, or altered move, or even altered perception. There's many chemovars, chemical varieties of cannabis that's selectively bred that contains high THC content. No, go back to what it treats. Yeah. But THC has a biological precursor, right? So we just learned that CBG is the OC, and it's a precursor to all of the cannabinoids. The biological precursor to THC is THCA, but the biological precursor to THCA is CBG or CBGA.
Wow.
Yeah. So basically, CBGA converts to THCA, and then THCA has to decarboxylate. You guys learned that term in Cooking with Chef Alex, right?
Yes.
I do a lot of decarbing in the cooking classes. Chef Dr. Alex, right? We renamed her Chef Dr. Alex.
That's right.
He, in time, worked to decarb THCA, which gives you the THC.
Okay.
And so the THC again binds to the CB1 receptors in the brain, and that's where you're treating the nausea, the pain, the loss of appetite, the insomnia, sleep apnea, anxiety, inflammation, PTSD. One thing about inflammation is that the THC Delta 9 anti-inflammatory properties are 20 times stronger than aspirin.
Ooh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So instead of taking an NSAID, which is going to eat away at your stomach,
you can decarb some THCA.
It's scramble an egg, right? I was going to ask you, Dr. Dana, and I don't know if you want to talk about this now, or you want to talk about it at the end once we kind of go through all of them. But I just made a note so I don't forget again. The benefit of a full spectrum. So maybe at the end, once we go through all of these, and also, we hear so much stigma behind THC from, I guess, a wellness perspective. We do see that there are some ways that THC can treat certain symptoms. And we hear a lot of people talk about, well, I've been using THC for years for my anxiety, for my social anxiety, for my sleep issue. And so then they come into a place like Bangology and they're learning, oh, wait, so I don't have to just use the THC. I can use something else, or I can learn about how to microdose. We're going to bring somebody in and talk about microdosing. So
You know what I found interesting when I was taking my course, that surprisingly, the highest rate of THC users for wellness are the elderly.
Absolutely.
I
Yes.
did not know that.
Yes. Yes. Because you think about it, as people they get older, they're not eating as much, right? Their appetites are not as much. And
Yep.
so they will give them cannabis, medical grade cannabis, or little Johnny might bring Granny a joint,
Right, yeah.
so that she can eat, right?
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
are you ready for the next slide, Dr. Dana?
Yes, I am. We're going to talk about some side effects of THC, 'cause even though it's a plant, it does have side effects. But I want to say that the side effects are dose dependent, right? Because you can't accurately dose when you're using the inhalation method, right? You can dose with drops, you can dose with the oil, you can dose a little bit with the vapes sometimes, but the inhalation method, when you're smoking it, you can't really dose appropriately, and so that's where you're going to get your side effects. That's where you're going to get your increased heart rate, your the increased appetite is a side effect, but that's kind of like a good side effect of THC, especially when you're using it for wellness and you have a decreased appetite. But you'll have like the more sleepiness, the fatigue, the dizziness, the lightheadedness, the lower blood pressure, the dry mouth, the hallucinations, and paranoia. Those come from not dosing appropriately. So there are some side effects that go along with THC, but if you get the dosing right, it's completely fine.
Right. So okay, so Dr. Danny, you can't say that without this question, if you get the dosing right. So how are people supposed to know how to dose? Many people just kind of do it trial and error, or they find out that they've been using, some THC on the street. It might not be that might not be quality, right? What is quality? So and I don't know if you can speak to this about proper dosing when it comes to THC.
So proper dosing, really, you would have to talk to a bud tender, because there's going to be different strains of the flower when they get it. And so bud tenders will really be able to help with how much of the flower you need to smoke and how much to put where. That the flower is the hardest thing to dose. Everything else is pretty much like, especially with the Bangology brand, you have the droppers, so you can dose with the droppers. You can't really, I can't really say how to dose with flowers. You would be better off talking to a bud tender about that.
Yeah, I was talking to someone today, and they definitely said that with the tinctures, it's easier to dose, even with some of the other cannabinoids that we're going to talk about, with a tincture as opposed to either the flower or eating it. We love to kind of play around with it, but if you are trying to dose for specific wellness issues or for specific chronic issues, then you want to make sure that you know how to do that effectively. So,
right.
All right. You ready, Dr. Dana?
I am. So the next one up is Delta 8. So this is all the rave.
It is the rave.
Actually, Delta 8 is blowing up.
Woo! Wait. I just want to do a commercial break right here. So for all of our Bangology followers and those of you who've been blowing up my inbox about Delta 8, it is coming. It is coming. So get ready. So you may have to do some pre-orders but it is coming to make sure that you get yours. So carry on, Dr. Dana. They've been wearing me out, but I hear you.
And now back to our regularly scheduled program. Delta 8 THC is an isomer of Delta 9 THC. which means that it's of the same molecular formula. It just has a different arrangement, right? Different bonding, different shapes, different orientation of the atoms. So it makes it subtly different than Delta 9 THC. Delta 8 THC binds to the CB1 and CB2 receptors in the same way that Delta 9 THC does. Delta 8 THC is psychoactive, but it is less psychoactive than Delta 9 THC. Delta 9 has, Delta 8 provides relief from nausea, pain, anxiety, as well as neuroprotection for the aging brain. So the Alzheimer's and things like that. I remember in the last presentation, I had spoke briefly and at the beginning about Dr. Raphael Mechoulam, right? Who's like the father, the grandfather, the father, the godfather of CBD and cannabinoids, because he did a lot of research on them, based out in Jerusalem. So another research study he did in 1995 was with 8 pediatric patients with cancer who were given Delta 8 THC to test whether the Delta 8 would prevent them from vomiting during their therapy. There was 100% success rate.
Wow.
In his study. There's no research that I've seen has 100% success rate, right? He said his success rate was 100% regardless of whatever cancer protocol that they were on. And there was a total number of 480 treatments on 8 patients over a 2-year period.
Wow.
So Delta 8.
Delta 8.
Delta 8 is where it's at. It's, yep, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, we did our very first cooking with cannabis. We used Delta 8, and it was just, and this was last year, around the fall of last year, and it was just starting to, creep onto the scene. And it was described as, it provides a body high. Mm-hmm. And so, we were here and we were like, okay, do we feel anything? Because it is on the THC side of CBD, mm-hmm. is kind of how I describe it. And it makes you very mellow, very relaxed, very mellow. So, and you can cook with it as well. But I think one of the things that folks need to take away is that Delta 8 will register on mm-hmm. a drug screen. So, so keep that in mind if you are in that type of occupation. So,
yep. All right. Anything else that I'm missing from Delta 8?
No. Well, I just want to also add this is that, I was talking with someone today, and they were saying with Delta 8 tinctures, you're going to get a pretty immediate response. So people who have chronic pain may want to take some of the higher doses of Delta 8, and you'll probably get an immediate relief response with the tincture. And then with, and it is probably something that you want to take at night.
At night, yes.
Kind of supplement with the CBD during the day. And so like Chef Dr. Alex said in the comments, you want to keep note of whenever you're taking any of these strains or whenever you're taking any supplement, whether it's CBD or a vitamin, you want to keep a log of what you're taking, how often you're taking it, how it's working for your body, so you understand whether to dose up or dose mm-hmm. down if you're doing this on your own.
All right. Hey, Chef Dr. Alex. I got tunnel vision, so I wasn't looking in the comments. But hey.
So Mama Moore has already asked. So when it's coming, ma'am. You will not bully me on the screen. It's coming.
You can't be promoting stuff when Mama Moore's online.
Mama Moore's like, she is spoken. So one of the things about Delta 8, because everybody wants it now. I mean, when we got it back in the fall, nobody was really talking about it. Now everybody wants it. And so the distributors, they can't keep it. They can't keep it. And so as soon as I get it, that's why I was like, I might pre-sell it because, we're going to get, some small numbers and we're hoping that it'll go pretty quickly. And we'll let you know when it's coming. So, if you guys want to put your name on a bottle to go ahead and get it. And we will also have the tinctures as well, in small quantities. See how you guys like them. And yeah, so that's when they're coming. I know that's not a date, but they on their way. But I will say they will be coming. Possibly before the end of the month. Yeah, possibly before the end of the month. That's just how close we are today. I was on with the manufacturer today. Hey, hey, Kathleen. All right, I got you.
She put her name on the list early.
Yes. It is a absolute great product. So we'll talk more about that later. But yeah, before the end of the month.
All right, awesome. All right, so the next up is THCA. Again, this is one of those acidic cannabinoids, tetrahydrocannabinolic acid. Can't listen.
THCA.
Way too many syllables. Tetrahydrocannabinolic acid.
There you go.
The biological precursor for THC, right? And then a biological precursor to THCA is CBG.
Everything goes back to the OC.
Yep. So THCA is the most abundant cannabinoid. And say that 3 times. No, ma'am. THCA is the most abundant cannabinoid in raw cannabis. So when THCA is exposed to heat, when you burn it, it decarbs, term from Chef Dr. Alex, to form THC. So studies demonstrate that the benefits of using THCA, it's a neuroprotectant. So it's going to protect for use with neurological disorders, again, your Huntington's, your Parkinson's, your epilepsies. It's an antiemetic, so if you are doing cancer treatments and kind of get that nausea and vomiting from the chemo or the radiation, what have you, can use the THCA as an antiemetic. It's anti-inflammatory, so not specifically, but really good for treating arthritis and lupus. THCA. An analgesic and antispasmodic, so epilepsy. I think I said that, right?
Yeah.
No, I said, okay. That's right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I know you guys are probably saying, wow, THCA, where can I get that? We probably won't be carrying THCA. However, I can get it for you. One of the things in talking, just had a meeting with a couple of distributors today. It is definitely on the higher end of price wise, but I can get that for you, for anyone who's interested in saying, hey, I want to try that THCA for my lupus or for my arthritis. We can get that for you. Now, Dr. Dana, I don't know if I want to mention this, and I know we're not talking about this tonight. It's not on the slides, but you've talked about THC, and whenever you see the A, that means that's the acid. It has to be decarb, and it goes back to the OC. So what about THCV? What is that? Where does that fall? Because I had a conversation today, because that's the next big thing, THCV. And it's kind of like the energy drink without all of the side effects from the energy drink. And it provides energy and mental clarity and focus. So I know folks are going to be interested in that. Can you speak a little bit about that, or where does that fall in this grid? Relates to the OC?
You know what? We didn't learn about THCV, so a lot of studying that I'm doing, well, we didn't learn a lot about it. So a lot of it is independent work with THCV, which is tetrahydrocannabivarin.
Ah, Cannabidiolic. That rolled off very well.
Cannabivarin. Yeah, Cannabivarin. That had one less syllable than the other ones. What I know about it is that it is psychoactive. I don't know yet its molecular makeup, so I don't know how close it is to actual THC or THCA.
Right.
I would assume it's pretty close since it is psychoactive. Yeah, but what you said, I do know about. It definitely helps with like appetite suppression.
Yeah.
Lower blood sugar. It helps with panic attacks.
Yeah, people are probably going to start seeing it as a diet. They're putting, and you guys, you have to be really careful because we were having this conversation in the meeting today. They're putting CBD in everything and variations of it, and some of it may work well together and some of it may not. That's why we're having these sessions, but they'll probably see it kind of promoted as a weight loss energy.
Yes.
The Red Bull without the crash, right?
Because it also improves insulin production.
They mentioned that today as well. Yeah. So definitely something that, again, I have access to, but we probably won't be carrying it right away. So, yeah.
So those are your THC.
Oh, well, there it is right there. We did have a slide. Yes. Oh, I know what we didn't have a slide for. That other thing.
The other thing.
Yeah, that other thing. So
that'll be the next one.
Yeah, not the next one, but yeah. So here it is, guys.
I mean, the next talk. That'll be the next talk.
Yeah. All right.
But after THV, so those are the THC variants, I guess, of the cannabinoids. We're going to talk about CBD now. Hot topic, CBD. The second most abundant cannabinoid in cannabis. And the biological precursor to CBD is CBDa. And the biological precursor to CBDa is CBG.
CBG, the OC of the cannabinoids.
Right. CBD is so we say that it's I have to sneeze, so excuse me if that comes out while I'm talking. We say that CBD is a non-psychoactive cannabinoid, but it does affect the mental state. So I would say that it's not as psychoactive as THC, but there is a psychoactive element to it, but not at the THC level.
So how do you break that down for someone who is thinking, oh my God, it's psychoactive. I'm going to be at work acting cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
No.
So when I hear you say that, I hear you're not going to feel it like you feel it with the THC.
No. So what I mean by that, and maybe this will be helpful because this is something that Chef Dr. Alex says as well. So labeled as non-psychoactive, it offers a natural protection against psychoactivity initiated by THC. So that in psychoactive in that way that it can help bring THC, that level down if you kind of overdose on THC. So what Chef Alex says is like, if you have too much THC, then you'd have CBD to counteract that. Or she says, drink milk if milk is your thing.
If that's your thing.
So that's what I mean by having a psychoactive component to it, because it will help shift in that way.
So it just rolls in and takes over. It's like it's the THC police. Hold up, wait a minute, you've done too much. you've had too many gummies or you've had too many brownies. CBD to the rescue.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
I like it. It's the THC police.
Right.
We'll call it that from now on.
Yeah.
We're talking about psychoactive policy.
The OC and the CB and the THC police.
Yes. Yes.
There will be a test, guys, afterwards. So, you make note of our shenanigans as you're learning this. We try to keep it fun and exciting because it's science. And most of the time, people just want to get better or get high. And we want you to be knowledgeable about what you're putting in your body. Mm-hmm. And so we try to make it's science. It really is science. There are molecular models to it. And so, hey, Rod, there are molecular configurations to it. Mm-hmm. And so we're just trying to make it a little fun as you learn what to put into your body and what it's going to do or not going to do.
Yeah. So it treats nausea, vomiting, seizure activity. Actually, it's seizure activity for Dravet's syndrome, which is that I don't know if you guys have heard of that. It's like that form of epilepsy that's really drug resistant. And so it's to the point where CBD has been synthesized into a synthetic cannabinoid branded by the name of Epidiolex. I don't know if some of you have heard about that drug, but that's actually a synthetic form of CBD that's used to treat Dravet syndrome.
Wow.
Yeah. So it can definitely help with seizure activity and inflammatory disorders, see, these syllables got me.
Neurodegenerative. Dr. Dana, have you had some CBD today? Because it returns back to homeostasis.
I might be able to talk clearer if I did. Might need a 2-minute break so I can go have some tinctures. With the neurodegenerative disorders, CBD is more potent than vitamin C and vitamin E in that regard when treating that. Treats tumor and cancer cells.
So wait a minute, let's go back. You said that if someone has a neurodegenerative disorder, and they're using CBD to help with that, it actually has more of what's needed than vitamin C and vitamin E.
Wow. The CBD does, yeah.
Wow.
There's more of a potency to it than you can get from what you would take in a vitamin E or C tablet.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well.
Yeah.
And then we know, of course, about the anxiety and bacterial and insomnia and pain.
Yeah. It's the bacterial infections, fun facts. I just like fun facts. CBD is potent against MRSA.
Really? And MRSA is
the thing you don't want.
MRSA is yeah. I've had some students that have had MRSA. They worked in nursing homes.
Yes.
It's not good.
It is not good. That's definitely very, very contagious. Very easy to contract if around, especially in those types of environments. But CBD is shown to have potent activity against it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
All right. You ready?
Yep. And so again, with the same as with THC, CBD also has some side effects. Again, prevalent when you take more of it, too much of it, which is dizziness, lightheadedness, anxiety, the increased heart rate, decreased appetite, some drowsiness, some diarrhea. Don't take too much. What's interesting is CBD can interfere with some medication. Oh man, it was just on the tip of my tongue and I lost it. But there's a specific medication.
Chef Dr. Alex said, so they should be handing out CBD at the old folks' home. Right. So, Dr. Dana, when it comes back to you about the medications that you're experienced with, definitely, just jump back in with that. So I always tell people, I keep going back to document what you're using. And I think we've got a little virtual notebook or something that we give out. It's in our members portal. But if you are on if you're watching this from our Facebook public page, or you are in our private group, or you're watching on YouTube, we'll put a link so that you guys can start to the document. So you'll have a document where you can keep up with it. It's really important to monitor what you're taking, your intake, so that you can learn how to utilize this plant yourself.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So the next one is CBDa. CBDa is the precursor to CBD, and of course, the precursor to CBDa is the OC CBG, right? CBDa, I'm not even gonna try.
Cannabidiolic.
Listen, y'all see the word, right? So CBDa again is a antibacterial, antiemetic. So it's going to treat nausea and vomiting, your anticipatory nausea from condition of psychological nausea that comes when you're in chemotherapy. So it's like, the thought of I'm going to have to throw up, even if you're not physically feeling that way. So CBDa for that, and can control the growth of cancer cells.
And it's antibacterial.
It is antibacterial. Oh, yeah, I thought I said that. Okay.
I was like, anything that's antibacterial, sign me up. No one wants the bacteria.
So what I found interesting is that some patients, and I think in when we had the cannabis week, someone talked about using flowers in smoothies, and I can't remember her name.
Oh yeah, I think
right. She said she put it in smoothies.
Yeah.
CBDa. Some patients find relief by juicing raw CBDa flowers.
Wow.
Wow. Using it in a juicer, so making a juice content out of it. So juicing, smoothies, those things, raw CBDa will help with pain relief.
Wow. We are definitely, if you guys getting some benefit from what you are learning tonight, give me some thumbs up in the chat that, this is good stuff, because it's definitely, if you're going to be including any form of cannabis in your health wellness regimen, then this is great knowledge. So Vladimir says CBD.
Oh, Vlad.
CBD and antidepressants such as Prozac, also heart meds. So I don't understand the question, or maybe that was just an additional comment to the CBDa.
Oh, maybe, I'm not sure. Wait, there's one or two other things that I want to say about CBDa before we move to the next one.
Okay.
So CBDa, it's a good idea to keep that refrigerated to prevent it from converting to CBD.
Oh, okay.
When you leave it too long, and if you leave it out, it oxidizes, and if it oxidizes, it'll turn to CBD.
So you just got a 2-for-1. You know, the first week I had some CBDA. The second week I'm gonna have a little CBD. I mean, hey, it's a twofer. I love twofers. I don't know. What about you guys? So Alex Williams says, yo, she's dropping gems. Wanda Morris giving you a thumbs up. You're doing a phenomenal job. We love, love, love our Dr. Dana Moore. Kathleen Williams,
I love the support.
founding member, says thumbs up. So next time she's gonna be doing it by herself, y'all. She don't know it yet. So get your CBDA for your precursor stuff, the upcoming. So CBN, talk to us.
Cannabinol, I can say that one. CBN is cannabinol, and that has a sedative-like effect, right? So strains that's high in CBN is good for facilitating sleep. There's two separate biological precursors to CBN, right? The first one is CBNA, and when CBNA is exposed to heat or UV light over, heat and time, decarbing, CBNA will convert to CBN. And the precursor to CBNA is THCA, and the precursor to THCA is OC,
also known as CBG.
The second biological precursor to CBN is THC. The chemical formula of CBN is almost nearly identical to THC. So when THC oxidizes, when you leave it out too long, it converts to CBN. So CBN is mildly psychoactive, reduces the potency of THC. So if you've had too much THC, you can take CBD. You can also take CBN.
Wow. When we first launched, people weren't doing a lot of talk about CBN, CBG. And so I remember we got a few bottles of CBN. I think I might have one right now. So, but the people that bought that CBN, it's like, it's the best sleep ever. They love it. They love it. And it is a sedative like, so it's definitely something, if you take a CBN where it's just CBN, you want to make sure you're not driving and utilizing heavy machinery and things of that nature. And then our partner, Green Roads, has a lovely CBD CBN combination. I think you've tried some of those, Dr. Dana. I know some of the folks have tried some of those where it's like a little nighttime.
Tried a lot of CB stuff.
I know you.
CBD, CBG, CBN, CB everything.
Yes, Dr. Dana is one of our testers. So yeah, CBN is good, but CBN by itself will definitely it is definitely like a sedative sleep aid.
Yep, it's also an analgesic. So CBN 3 times stronger than aspirin.
Wow.
3 times stronger than aspirin.
Well, of course, because you're going to be knocked out sleep. You're not going to feel no pain. I mean, isn't that the kind of sleep we want if we're in pain? We don't want to, like, if I'm in pain, I want to go to sleep, but I don't want to be awakened by my pain. So I think that's what we call a twofer.
Another twofer.
Another twofer. Who knew that there were so many facets of cannabis?
Yeah. Who knew?
Who knew? You knew. All right, Dr. Dana.
What's the next one?
CBC.
CBC. So CBC is a fairly new one for me as well. Cannabichromine. Fairly new one for me. I do know that it's anti-inflammatory and antiviral, as well as it's also analgesic as well. It promotes neurogenesis, new nerve growth, and stimulates the growth of new brain cells. So it's to me it's another neuroprotectant. Yeah.
So a neuroprotectant is like
for those neurodegenerative disorders.
there we go.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
If
Bring it on.
if you combine CBC with CBD or THC, then you'll have an antidepressant effect.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. All right. Let's see. Woo. Okay. So before we go here, we've visited. So we've gone all around the leaf tonight.
At least 6 times around.
At least 6 times around. So I'm going to go back to, well, I was going to try to go. Can you talk a little bit about the full spectrum effect? Because I know that, so we've talked about the endocannabinoid system and what makes all of these things work really well in our bodies. And you gave us like a refresher of that. And then tonight we went through all of the major cannabinoids. And so, we talk about full spectrum, isolate. Isolate means, it's just that particular thing that's isolated, just the CBD, just the CBN, just the CBG. But can you talk a little bit, Dr. Dana, about the benefits of full spectrum? Now that we've pretty much talked about it, and guys, when you get a full spectrum product, it
did not just freeze on me.
It's going to have a little bit of the benefits of full spectrum.
Yeah. So the full spectrum is basically that. It's just, like I said at the beginning, there's like 113 different cannabinoids, and we only reviewed just a handful. So full spectrum is just not isolating all of the specific cannabinoids out of the plant. And so there's a synergistic flow with certain cannabinoids working together, similar to the CBD and the CBG, how that works together for inflammation and sleep. I am so going to have some CB something when this is over. Just saying. So the full spectrum is just a blending of the different cannabinoids to help that strain or that tincture or whatever it is that they're combining to be able to more positively affect or enhance like your treatment for anxiety or your treatment for pain. Or it's sort of like the entourage effect. Did we talk about the
No, we didn't. We didn't. So that's exactly what a full spectrum product, they call it the entourage effect. If you've seen it, if you follow us on the social media, we talk about the entourage effect of the full spectrum. So you actually get, it's like, I like to think of it like this. When you just get an isolate gummy, that's kind of like one of your vitamins. We're going to say that's your vitamin C. But then when you take a multivitamin, then that is your full spectrum. You're getting a little bit of everything. So, and if you want a little bit more, then you get a little, you buy an additional piece to go with it to give you a little bit more, so that you can get the full health benefits. So, woo, Dr. Dana, we have been around the world. We have, hung out with the OC of the cannabinoids, which is CBG, which is the mother. All hail to the mother of cannabis. All hail to the mother of cannabis, CBG. If you guys didn't know that, an excellent, one of my favorite cannabinoids. Anything you wanna say to wrap us up?
Visit the website, pre-order your Delta 8.
That's right. Go ahead. If you're not a member, then go ahead and grab this coupon code. Members have their own coupon code, but yes, visit our website. We will be adding pre-order to the site. What's today? By Friday, so that you guys can order your pre-order the Delta 8. We're so excited about adding Delta 8 to our store, our e-store. If you have any questions, reach out to us in our group. Make sure that if you're watching on YouTube, that you slam that subscribe button and you subscribe to our Bangology channel, that you are following us on all places, Bangology, IG, our public page, and join us in the Bangology Cannabis Society. We have some fun in the Bangology Cannabis Society. Thank you, Dr. Dana, for being here with us tonight, educating us once again to wrap up our series for the month of July. On last week, we were blessed to have Chef Alex with us, and tonight, our very own Dr. Dana Moore, founding member. Next month, August, we're going to be talking about terpenes, and wait a minute, what else are we talking about? We're talking about terpenes and the genetic effects of CBD. It's going to be amazing. We've got a special guest coming in to talk about that. So watch out, watch your calendars. If you're in our groups, you'll always know what's going on. But, and I don't have those dates. I should have those dates handy, but just we'll post when we'll be back with our July. So we've got some really interesting topics coming up for the next few months. Portia Odom says, very, very informative. Chef Alex says, thank you. You taught me some stuff tonight. Everybody's sending you some love, Dr. Dana.
Thank you for the love.
Thanks for hanging out with us tonight, everybody. Well, have a good night. Keep your eye out for the notice about Delta 8 coming to a Bangology store near you soon. Good night.
Good night, everyone.